Have you ever been in a situation where you're constantly trying to please others? Let's take a moment to reflect on that. It's a common scenario, isn't it? We often find ourselves saying yes when we want to say no, simply to keep others happy, to avoid conflict, or to maintain harmony. But in the process, what happens to our self-value? It gets compromised, doesn't it? It's an age-old struggle, this need to please others, often at the cost of our own happiness. But it's not a life sentence. We can overcome this need to constantly please others. We can learn to say no without feeling guilty. We can learn to prioritize our needs without feeling selfish. In this video, we will explore ways to overcome the need to constantly please others and start pleasing ourselves. It's time to create your best life, a life that resonates with your values, your desires, and your dreams. First, let's understand what people-pleasing is all about. People-pleasing is a behavior pattern in which an individual consistently puts the needs, desires, and feelings of others above their own. They strive to make others happy, often at the expense of their own well-being. The primary goal is to avoid conflict and maintain harmony, but this can create an unhealthy dynamic where the person's own needs are overlooked. Now, let's dive into the psychology behind it. People-pleasing is often rooted in a deep-seated desire for approval and acceptance. It's a coping mechanism developed in response to fears of rejection or abandonment. Many people-pleasers grew up in environments where their worth was measured by their ability to make others happy. This pattern of behavior, learned in childhood, can persist into adulthood, creating a cycle that is difficult to break. So why do people fall into the people-pleasing trap? For one, it can feel rewarding. When we please others, we often receive positive feedback, which can boost our self-esteem temporarily. It can also help us avoid conflict, which for many can be a significant source of stress and anxiety. However, this is a short-term solution, and over time it can lead to resentment, burnout, and a loss of self-identity. In the pursuit of pleasing others, it's easy to lose sight of our own needs and desires. We may find ourselves making decisions based on what we think will make others happy, rather than what is best for us. This can lead to feelings of resentment and dissatisfaction, as we realize that despite our efforts, we're not truly fulfilling our own needs. It's important to remember that while it's natural to want to make others happy, it's equally important to prioritize our own happiness and well-being. After all, we can't pour from an empty cup. We must learn to balance our desire to please others with our own needs and desires. Now that we understand what people-pleasing is, let's delve into how we can overcome it. The first step to overcoming people-pleasing is self-awareness. It's like turning on a light in a previously dark room. Suddenly, you can see everything clearly, including the dust bunnies in the corner that you've been blindly stumbling over. Self-awareness is paramount in any change process. It is the ability to see ourselves objectively through introspection and reflection. It's about understanding our own needs, desires, habits, potentials, and everything that makes us who we are. Without it, we are like ships without a compass, drifting aimlessly on the sea. Now, when it comes to people-pleasing, self-awareness is all about recognizing those moments when we are compromising our own needs and desires to make others happy. It's about noticing that sinking feeling in your stomach when you say yes to something you really wanted to say no to. It's about acknowledging the tightness in your chest when you suppress your own thoughts and opinions to avoid conflict. How do we cultivate this awareness, you ask? Well, it starts with paying attention to your emotions and reactions. Notice how you feel when you're about to make a decision. Are you doing something because you genuinely want to, or because you're afraid of how others might react if you don't? Next, reflect on your past interactions. Think about the times when you felt overburdened, stressed, or resentful. Were these feelings due to you taking on more than you could handle just to avoid disappointing others? Also, observe your language. Do you often find yourself saying things like, "I should," "I have to," or "I can't let them down"? These phrases often indicate a people-pleasing mindset. Finally, consider seeking feedback from trusted friends or family. Sometimes it's easier for outsiders to spot our people-pleasing tendencies. However, remember that the aim is not to criticize, but to understand and grow. Remember, self-awareness is not about self-judgment or self-criticism. It's about understanding and accepting ourselves as we are, while also recognizing areas where we could improve. Once you're aware of your people-pleasing tendencies, you're ready to take the next step. The second step to overcoming people-pleasing is setting boundaries. Imagine your life as a beautiful garden. You wouldn't want anyone to trample all over your flowers, would you? That's where boundaries come in. They're like a protective fence around your garden, keeping it safe from harm. Boundaries are rules or limits that a person creates to identify reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for other people to behave towards them. They're about respecting your own needs and ensuring others do the same. But how do you set healthy boundaries? It starts with self-awareness, recognizing what makes you feel uncomfortable or stressed. These feelings help you identify what your boundaries are. For example, if you feel stressed when you're overloaded with work, you might set a boundary to say no to additional tasks. To set boundaries, you need to be clear about what you can tolerate and accept, and what makes you feel uncomfortable or stressed. It's not about making demands or ultimatums, but rather communicating your needs in a respectful way. It's important to express your boundaries openly and assertively, yet with kindness. You might say, "I value our relationship, but I need some time to myself every day." Or, "I feel overwhelmed when I take on too many tasks, so I can't accept any more right now." Remember, setting boundaries isn't a one-time event. It's a continuous process. You might need to reevaluate and adjust your boundaries over time, and that's perfectly okay. Adhering to your boundaries can be challenging, especially if you're a people pleaser. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but it's crucial for your well-being. Over time, you'll find that setting and maintaining boundaries helps you feel more confident and less burdened. It's equally important to respect others' boundaries. Just as you have the right to feel comfortable and respected, so do the people around you. So, let's recap. Boundaries are like the fence around your garden, protecting your well-being. Setting them involves recognizing your limits and communicating them respectfully and assertively. It's an ongoing process, and it requires adherence and mutual respect. With boundaries in place, you're ready to move on to the next step. The third step to overcoming people-pleasing is practicing self-care. But what does self-care really mean? At its core, self-care is about prioritizing your own well-being. It's about taking care of your physical, mental, and emotional health, and doing what's necessary to keep yourself happy, healthy, and balanced. Self-care can take many forms. For some, it may be as simple as taking a few minutes each day to meditate or practice mindfulness. Others might find solace in a good book, a long walk, or a hot bath. It's different for everyone, but what's important is that it's something that you enjoy and that makes you feel good about yourself. Physical self-care is an essential part of this process. This could include eating a balanced diet, getting regular exercise, or ensuring you get enough sleep. These actions help to keep your body healthy and strong, enabling you to better handle stress and avoid burnout. Then there's mental self-care. This might involve activities like journaling, meditating, or engaging in a hobby that you love. These practices can help to reduce stress and anxiety, increase your self-esteem, and improve your overall mood. Lastly, emotional self-care is about acknowledging and expressing your feelings in a healthy way. This might involve talking to a trusted friend or family member, seeing a therapist, or practicing mindfulness and meditation. In the context of overcoming people-pleasing, self-care is incredibly important. It's about putting yourself first, something that people-pleasers often struggle with. It's about recognizing that your needs and feelings are just as important as those of others, and that it's okay to prioritize yourself. When you practice self-care, you're sending a powerful message to yourself and others. You're saying, "I am valuable, I am worthy, and I deserve to be taken care of." This can be a major step in overcoming people-pleasing and learning to advocate for yourself. Self-care is a crucial step in overcoming people-pleasing. Now, let's move to the final step. The final step to overcoming people-pleasing is being assertive. Assertiveness is a communication style that allows us to express our thoughts, feelings, and needs in a respectful, direct, and honest way. It's a middle ground between being passive and being aggressive. Not only does it help us stand up for our rights, but it also promotes mutual respect and understanding in relationships. Think of it as a key tool in your toolbox for overcoming people-pleasing. When you're assertive, you're able to articulate your needs without compromising the needs of others. You're not just saying yes to please people, but you're saying yes because it aligns with your values and priorities. You're not just avoiding conflict, but you're addressing it in a constructive manner. Now, you might be wondering, how can I become more assertive? Well, here are a few tips. First, practice saying no. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but remember, saying no to something you don't want to do is saying yes to your own well-being. Second, use I statements. For example, instead of saying, "You're making me feel bad," say, "I feel bad when." This way, you're owning your feelings and not blaming others. Third, set clear boundaries. Let people know what you're comfortable with and what you're not. Fourth, ask for what you want. Don't wait for others to guess your needs. If you want something, ask for it. Fifth, practice active listening. This involves not only hearing the words that another person is saying, but also understanding the complete message being sent. Remember, assertiveness is a skill, and like any other skill, it requires practice. So don't be too hard on yourself if you don't get it right the first time. Just keep trying, and soon enough, you'll find your voice. Being assertive is the final step to overcoming people-pleasing. Now let's summarize what we've learned. So, how do we overcome people-pleasing? It's a journey, a process, and it begins with 4 crucial steps. Let's take a moment to recap what we've discussed today. First and foremost, we have self-awareness. It all starts with understanding ourselves, recognizing our patterns, and identifying when we're falling into the people-pleasing trap. It's about being mindful of our actions, our feelings, and our motivations. It's about asking ourselves, am I doing this because I genuinely want to, or am I doing it to please someone else? Next, we shift to setting boundaries. This is a critical step in reclaiming our power and autonomy. It's about learning to say no without feeling guilty. It's about understanding that our time, energy, and well-being are valuable, and we have the right to protect them. It's about making it clear to others and to ourselves what we are and aren't willing to do. Then, we focus on self-care. This is about treating ourselves with kindness and compassion. It's about prioritizing our needs and taking care of our physical, emotional, and mental well-being. It's about understanding that it's not selfish to take care of ourselves. It's necessary. Finally, we have assertiveness. This is about expressing our thoughts, feelings, and needs in a confident and respectful way. It's about standing up for ourselves and not letting others take advantage of us. It's about finding our voice and using it to advocate for ourselves. These 4 steps, self-awareness, setting boundaries, self-care, and assertiveness, are the cornerstones of overcoming people-pleasing. They provide us with the tools we need to break free from the constraints of constantly trying to make others happy at our own expense. By following these steps, you can stop pleasing others and start living for yourself. Remember, it's your life. Live it the way you want to. And as you embark on this journey, remember you're not alone. Be kind to yourself, be patient, and most importantly, believe in your ability to create the life you want to live. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe to Pretty Girl Whispers community and comment below what you would like to hear about more.